friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works workshop. It's September 12th, I believe. Haven't looked at the calendar this morning, so give or take a day. I'm ready to embark on a project here for a customer. This customer actually sent me 5 instruments, or maybe 4 instruments. I have to go back and even count the boxes, to be honest. They've been sitting in the boxes since March 5th. I wasn't here when they came. Had I been here, I probably would have refused them because at that time I wasn't accepting any new instruments coming in the shop. These were sent unsolicited. Now, please understand, I'm just telling you the circumstances here. I hold no, harm toward the customer at all. I'm not upset with them. I wasn't penalizing him by just making him wait all this time. I just had so many instruments in the shop and they were here, quote unquote, by permission or whatever. And so I had to take care of them first. And I had all those custom instruments to build, 4 mandolins at this point. And, I just overworked, that's all. So I'm just now getting to them. And like I said, they've been here for 6 months. So I just really wanted to tell you, this is how I've handled this situation. You might have handled it differently. This is just how I'm handling it. Now I'm going to fold his 4 or 5 instruments, whatever it is. I'm going to fold them into the mix of instruments that are in the shop and that will be shipped to the shop from the waiting list, etc. So I'm just kind of folding one of his in when I can. I'm going to show you all the instruments in this first part of this clip. And he wanted me to work on the Dobro first, which I haven't even unboxed yet. So I'll show you this first instrument that I have unboxed and then we'll move on from there. The first instrument is this Gibson Guitar. There's no model inside it. I don't know, as I've told you many times, I can't keep them all straight in my head. And I don't have time to look them up, and it wouldn't make a bit of difference if I knew. So, I don't care. But it's a nice Gibson guitar. I don't see anything outwardly wrong with it. I can hear the electronics rattling around inside. You can probably hear that as well, which I don't like. It does have a pickup on it on the end. Apparently, he's had a lot of work done on it and had the adjustable bridge replaced. What's not real apparent to you probably is that these strings, now I haven't even looked at it, are nylon. I don't know about you, but I haven't seen this type of guitar with nylon strings before, so right there poses some kind of an issue. Major concerns to me, like how am I going to get that not to buzz, if that's what he wants it set up like. Overall, would like it cleaned and polished. Take down any sharp edges on the frets and oil it. Set up the intonation, whatever you feel it needs. I'm planning to set it up with these strings since that's what's in the case and they're brand new. We'll move on to the next instrument here and show you what else he sent. All right, the second box that he sent me contains the Dobro that he wants worked on. It looks like a real nice instrument. It's a Tut Taylor Resophonic. The first one of these I've actually seen. There's a lot of loose stuff inside. I'm not sure. It looks like screw. It looks like oh, I see. The tail pin is not in there. It's down in here. And then I saw a loose screw also, which goes to this, I'm sure. Strap button and the screw were loose inside the case, and the button was inside of here. I don't know if that happened in shipping or what. I'll just put these in the accessory compartment for now. So my instructions on this one are, he wants a new cone put in it. He supplied the cone. I assume that this is the right cone. It looks like it is. A new deer antler bridge, clean and polish, set intonation, whatever I recommend. New strings installed and they're enclosed. He's had buzzing issues. He had a strip of leather. Apparently this is it right here. It's a heavy instrument. It's very pretty, very nice, nicely made instrument. You can see there, it's very nice. Yeah, I really like it. It's a nice looking instrument. So I have actually been toying with the idea of building one of these, so I'm going to take real close notes on this one. We'll see what we can do about setting this one up. I think this is going to be the instrument we're going to start on because I believe this is the one he wanted me to start on. I'll show you the next instrument. Gee, I'm working up quite a sweat just unboxing all these. It's the first time I've looked at any of them, I can tell you. So the third instrument is a Gibson mandolin. And it's a pretty decent mandolin. I'll let you see a close-up of the... You can see it's got Sam Bush's name on there, Gibson Sam Bush. And here's the problem on the back. I'll explain that in a minute. I'll let you take a good close look at it there. It's a nice looking instrument. And there's the back of the peg head. Alright, the story on this one is he wants clean and polished setup, antler saddle, set the intonation, change the strings, oil the fretboard, all that kind of stuff. So he pretty much just wants a full meal deal type setup. He bought this mandolin new, had it about 6 months, and the Hurricane Irene flooded the basement, and it was floating in water for 3 days before he could get to it. The back had delaminated. Well, I don't refer that as delamination. To me, that would be the wood that would be delaminated. There's a little problem with the finish right in here and in here, but anyway, it looks fine. It's mostly that the water got under the finish and just lifted the finish right off of it is what's really happened here. This piece here's chipping loose. I think I'm just gonna, these loose pieces, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and chip them off. And where it's solid, I think we may put some more varnish or something on here and try to blend it together. That'd be about the best I could do, and you know, help it look a little better. He's not too worried about the finish, but I don't think it'd take a ton of work to make it look better. Pretty much just full meal deal plus maybe a little varnish touch up on this one. So I think this is going to turn out real nice. So here's instrument number 4. I'll let you just take a look at the label there. I'm not familiar with this guitar at all. It's an acoustic electric, as you can see there. Not really seen that control configuration before. There's a look at the headstock. It doesn't appear to be a high-end instrument to me. Smooth the fret edges, set up the intonation, lower the action, clean the fretboard, polish the guitar, whatever you think it needs. Reglue the cushion in the case and make a new door for the case compartment. Okay. Well, I can do anything. What the heck? What he's referring to is that the fabric is all loose here. There's no door on this compartment. So he's wanting me to fabricable something here, and I'll see what I can do. But this one's going to be probably the last one in line unless he tells me different. So we'll get to that one down the road. So the story on this customer is that he had sent me a couple of other instruments in the past already. So this is 4 more. So hopefully that speaks to the fact that he apparently likes my work.
Brother John is a poor, hard-working man. His life was hard, but he does the best he can. He prays to God just to thank him for his bread and the roof.
I thought that did a really nice job buffing it out. There are still a few little hand places that will have to be rubbed a little bit, but overall looks pretty good. This chrome around these things is kind of dulled, and maybe we can clean that up a little bit. Hopefully we don't buff through it. We'll try to do that by hand. I just test fitted the new cone in here. That seems to be perfect, so I don't see any problems there. It doesn't rock. There's a little tiny problem right here with the finish. That's about the only real bad finish spot I see. There's a couple of other little tiny ones, and I'm tempted to clean these a little bit and try to put some kind of filler in there to, you know, like lacquer and stuff, just to fill it up and get rid of the chips. Because he does want it looking nice, it looks like. And if it were mine, I think as nice as the instrument is, I'd probably want to go ahead and fill these little chips a little bit. So that's what we're going to try next. This spot right here is the one that I'm working on. so that you can see. And I have the brushing lacquer made by Minwax. I'm just going to take a toothpick, take the large end of the toothpick, and just put a drop there. It's I wanted to just see what it looks like. It may not be stained to match, or the stain may have come off. It's pretty close, but it could probably, if I added just a touch of stain to it, it'd probably look a little better. I've got a little dark brown leather dye, and I'm just going to touch it along here. Now I'll put the lacquer back in there. Just one drop is about all it's going to take, really. Soak down tight. Yeah, you really can't hardly even tell it now. If we turn our attention to the peg head, there's a pretty good nick right there. Let's see if we can darken that in. These are really tiny, so I'll just take the small end of the toothpick this time. There's kind of a boo-boo right here. I don't think this little boo-boo is going to get covered entirely by the ferrule, so be nice if we could get something to suck up in there, because really what that is that I think that it's separated, yep, and it's sucking underneath there. Look at that. That's going to darken that up, and where you won't even hardly be able to tell it. It's actually sucking the lacquer under the other lacquer. I don't know if you can see that or not. Probably not, since I don't have the camera close. Working on this one right here. It's not going to go away entirely, but I can tell it's improving. It's actually sucking the lacquer under there. If I can pump it a little bit, it might actually make it better too.
Over his head, Brother John lost his wife.
This area right here is the same way. It's kind of separated. Maybe if I can get a little bit of lacquer right up around it, it might, yep, there, see, it just sucked right under there. I don't know if you can see that in the camera or not, but it's sucking right under there. So if you see that on your instrument, you might be able to fix, some of it. See, now that one there almost went entirely away. This one was much deeper, much bigger. Try it one more time and see if it would just happen to go up in there, but it's not. It's just not quite going the same. If I had some way of lifting it just a tiny little bit without breaking it, which is the trick, I might be able to get it to go under there better. Well, there, I broke it. It was already pretty much broke. I think I'll just see if I can get lacquer under there now and see if it'll stick itself back down in place. Well, I think I'm just going to have to leave that piece out, because I don't know which side was up, which side was down, and it's probably looking fine this way. It's actually looking better. That looks better than it did. You can't hardly see it now. So that's going to be an improvement as well. Eventually, we might have to do this twice. Might have to put these drops in there, because this stuff likes to sink to the lowest point. Let's look on the back and see if I see anything. The back looks really nice. I don't see any problems on the back. I believe that's the only little blemishes I see in the finish, and I think that's going to take care of them. So we'll just let that set a little while, and we'll come back to it later. We've got the Dobro sitting here. It's been 24 hours since I filled these holes with lacquer. This is probably not totally dry, but I've got to make progress and get instruments through the shop. So I'm going to give it a shot. If it don't work, we'll just have to do it again. I have tape on both sides of this straight edge razor blade, and that'll keep it from scratching the top. And then I've got it just a little wider than the lacquer that I put on there, and it's scraping just the top of that lacquer off that I put on, trying to get it leveled out. Seems to be scraping okay. See there, it's scraped it off pretty good. It might be just enough. The whole thing's a little bit proud. If few thousandths proud, so by the time we get that leveled off, I think it's going to work. It feels fairly dry, so I think we're okay. Here's a little tiny piece of 2000 sandpaper that I'm going to scuff it with. I put about 5 or 6 applications on this, you know, about 2 hours in between each application, so it had enough buildup, it looks like, just enough to make this work.
When the fever came around, the gentle girl, oh, we laid her in the ground, she was his life, and her dying hit him hard, till he heard the voice of God, Brother John.
I think once we buff that out, it's gone. I don't think you'll see it anymore. I'm going to start with the semi-chrome polish, and who knows what we'll end up with.
Earth is ending.
If I'm being truthful, if you get it in the right light, you can see a little fill there, but it's pretty much just perfectly smooth, and you really can't hardly see it even. Color blended in really good. We're going to go ahead and try sanding it a little bit more, because I just would like to get rid of that little hump. There's still a little tiny hump there, and I think that's what's giving it away. If that hump wasn't there, it wouldn't even show at all. There's some little additional scratches right through here that I hadn't really noticed before. Might have had something to do with that chip out. See if I can get rid of them too while we're here.
Sorrow soon will be gone. You were a good man. You did all you could, and
you really have to know where it's at now. It was like right here, right by my finger. But you kind of have to know just where it's at really to see it now. You know, if you get the light just right, you can see it, but unless that light is exactly right, you don't see it at all. So that's suitable to me. We won't spend any more time on that.
You're home now, Brother John.
That looks fine. I think that looks 100% better than what we started with, so I don't see any reason to complain about that. Now, one thing I noticed when those ferrules were very loose fitting in here, so I think I'm going to glue each ferrule in just to keep them from falling out. The strings were off of it, but when I turned it over, some of those ferrules actually fell out, and I would prefer they didn't do that because you'll lose them over time. Ordinarily, I wouldn't necessarily recommend gluing these in, but there's really not much else I can do because you know, the holes are just a little bit too big. These have been replaced, I'm sure. I'm going to use a little bit of this Formula 560 canopy glue. This seems to glue about anything to just about anything. So, and it's water soluble, so if I get any on the top up here, I can wipe it right off.
Late one day, he was working in the field. The sun was low, and the earth was cool and still. He heard his wife calling, "Come join me now." He fell beside his plow. Brother John, your trouble on earth is ending. All your sorrow soon will be gone. You were a good man.
Hopefully this shows up. You can see around on this side it's pretty crusty, not shiny. This side here, pretty buffed out, polished. Looks much, much better. From about here to here, this side is nice, this side is real dull. I'm just using the semi-chrome polish on that.
You did all you could, and they're calling you home now, Brother John.
And so we'll put this back in the Dobro. And we'll do the same thing to the other one here. We've got the tailpiece, and you can see it's pretty dull. It's not terrible, but it's just dull. So let's see if the Semi-chrome can do anything for that. Yeah, that looks quite a bit better. I always call this a hubcap because it's kind of what it looks like. I'm going to take the piece of leather off and hopefully we won't need that. But we really do have kind of a really dull looking finish on this, especially on this side. So let's see if we can't clean that up some.
Trouble on earth is ending. All your sorrow soon will be gone. You were a good man, you did all you could, and they're calling you home now, Brother John.
Alright, well, we're going to call that good enough. It's pretty nice compared to where we were. Let's start looking at putting this thing back together. Here's the new cone. I've got the screw in there just more for a handle than anything, because once you set it in there, it's kind of hard to get it out without turning it upside down. There you go, that fits really nice. We've got the spider that fits in here. He wanted me to put in a new saddle on this, and I think he wants a deer antler saddle. I'll show you what those look like when I get them made. Incidentally, these appear to have been glued in. This first one shows signs of glue on it, and yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm sure that's glue. And I know that, at least I wouldn't put glue on there. Boy, they're in there tight, I can tell you that for sure. I guess I'll have to work on it separately so that I don't mess up the instrument. Boy, they were in there tight, I'll say that. But we'll go ahead and make a set of these out of antler. Pull the saddles out. They fit pretty darn tight, so I think they're going to be fine. See if we can get the screw down in here and tighten this all up. I've got the cone in there. I laid the spider on here. The spider is still loose on top of the cone. What I understand is you tighten the screw down until the screw head snugs up to this, and I mean like just barely snugs up. Now it's there. I didn't put any tension on it, it's just snugged to it. Now we're going to go ahead and put everything else together, string this thing up, and after we string it up, then we'll tension this properly. As my friend Jeff Bradshaw says, start them all before you tighten any.
I am a poor wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world of woe. There is no sadness, no toil, no danger.
I don't know if that's going to cause a problem or not. It's just barely clearing the top. Hopefully the strings will pull it up a little bit. I think my saddle might be a hair taller than the old saddle. That would help.
That bright land to which I go, I'm going there to see my mother. She said she'd meet me when I come. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home.
to adjust the tension on the cone. You can hear a little rattling going on, and I believe that's due to the lack of tension on the cone at the moment. At least that's what I hope it is. Everything else seemed to match up real good, so I think that's all we've got to deal with. Yeah, this is loose now, so the idea is you tighten the screw up till it gets snug right there. I mean, just like till it touches, basically. So you're really not putting any tension on it. Once you get it snug right there, then you turn it about a half a turn. So I see where that is, and I'll turn it about a half a turn. A quarter to a half a turn is what they recommend, but I'm going to go a half a turn because there was quite a bit of rattling going on there. Perfect. Perfect. Let's see now. There's G, B, D, another G, another B, and another D. Sounds really nice. Don't think you could get one to sound a whole lot better than that, the way this is all set up here. You know, it's all about this cone and everything, and you want that lip of that cone sitting just as flat as you can get it to set, and so I turned it around till I got it just as flat as it'll go. The same way with the spider has to be touching all the way around. If it's not touching, you may have to actually bend it a little bit to adjust it. This one was pretty good. I put a piece of felt under the tailpiece so that that wouldn't rattle anymore, and that's kind of recommended, so that's not like it's something unusual. And everything else is all snugged up. We got her tuned up. We adjusted the spider to the cone by just snugging it up, and then about another half a turn, and that's it. Sounds very good. If we have any luck at all, we're going to take this to a jam this evening and have Beverly play a tune on it so that you all can hear what it sounds like. Hello friends, we're here at a jam session in St. James, Missouri, and we've got the Taylor Dobro all fixed up, and Beverly's going to play a tune on it since I don't know how to play a Dobro. So what are we going to play, Beverly?
Let's do the Fireball Mail.
Fireball Mail, and that's in the G of keys, isn't it?
Yeah, ready? Thank you for doing that, Beverly. Hope you all enjoyed that.